All right, let's jump right in. What we're about to break down is one of the most high-stakes motivational speeches you'll ever find. It comes from the ancient text of Deuteronomy, and at its core, it's all about a single choice, a choice with consequences big enough to define a nation. So, this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Imagine you're trying to unite a whole group of people to give them a shared purpose, right as they're standing on the edge of a brand new future. How do you pull that off? Well, according to this text, it all comes down to a powerful blueprint for creating a collective identity. First things first, we have to get this setting right, because this isn't some abstract lecture in a classroom. This is a live address happening at one of the most pivotal moments in this people's history. I mean, the context here is just incredibly dramatic. You have an entire generation that's only ever known life in the wilderness, and now they are literally standing on a riverbank, looking across at the land they've been hearing about their whole lives. This speech is the final pep talk, the last set of instructions before they take that huge, fateful step. So how do you convince them? The strategy is frankly brilliant. It doesn't start with some high-minded philosophy. Nope, it starts with an appeal to their memory, to their own direct personal experience. And the message is just so incredibly direct. The speaker isn't talking to some future generation that's going to hear these stories secondhand. They're looking right into the eyes of the crowd and saying, "This is for you," the ones who were actually there. That little shift makes the whole thing deeply personal and, impossible to just brush off. This line right here, this is the foundation for the entire speech. Belief isn't being asked for based on rumor or legend. It's based on what they personally witnessed. Their own lived experience is being presented as Exhibit A. So, what exactly did they see? This is basically the highlight reel of their collective memory, right? You've got supernatural signs back in Egypt, a miraculous escape through the Red Sea, somehow surviving in a barren desert, and even seeing divine judgment happen right there in their own camp. These weren't just nice stories, they were unforgettable, world-shaping events. The message is simple. You were there, you saw it, you know this is real. So, after grounding the entire argument in what they've already experienced, the speech makes this really clever pivot to the future reward. It shifts from memory to motivation by painting this incredibly vivid picture of what's waiting for them right across that river. And this comparison is just so powerful. Egypt, the place they escaped, is described as a place of constant, hard, manual labor, like a vegetable garden you have to water yourself by foot every single day. But the new land, it's totally different. It drinks rain from heaven. It's just a beautiful, poetic way of saying that this new home is sustained by divine help, not just backbreaking human effort. And it gets even better. This isn't just about getting a fertile piece of real estate. The land itself is described as being under constant, personal, divine watch. From the beginning of the year to the end, God's eyes are on it. This just elevates the whole promise from being a simple gift to being this cherished, protected place. Okay, so how do they get this incredible land? And more importantly, how do they keep it? Well, it's not a done deal. The speech lays out a really clear contract, what you could call the ultimate if-then statement. The official name for this is a covenant. And the key word here, you gotta catch this, is conditional. This is not a blank check. It's an agreement with very specific terms. And what's really fascinating is that this structure, rules, then blessings for following them, and curses for breaking them, this would have been instantly familiar to them. It's basically the same format as the political treaties of that era between a great king and the smaller nations under him. So this wasn't just a religious idea, it was being presented in the political and legal language of their world. And the terms really could not be clearer. It's a straight-up if-then deal. If you faithfully obey and serve God, then you get the rain, you get the harvest, and you'll be satisfied. The land will provide. But if you turn away and start worshiping other gods, then the heavens shut up, the land dies, and you will perish. The consequences are every bit as direct as the rewards. So what does this obedience actually look like? Well, the text demands total immersion. This is not a once-a-week kind of thing. They're told to bake these words into their hearts and minds, to literally wear them as symbols, to teach them nonstop to their kids, and even write them on the doors of their houses. The whole idea is that obedience is meant to become the very fabric of their everyday lives. And there's one more massive promise that's tied to this obedience, and it's one that speaks directly to their most immediate fear. Remember, they're about to walk into a hostile, occupied land. So here's the guarantee. If you keep your end of the deal, God will ensure your military victory. even against nations that are larger and stronger than you are. All of this, the history lesson, the amazing promise, the strict conditions, it all builds to this one final dramatic climax. Everything gets boiled down to a single, incredibly stark choice. And that's pretty much the whole speech in a nutshell. Everything they've just heard falls into one of these two buckets. There's no third option, no gray area, no middle ground. It is a binary choice presented with unbelievable force. Blessing or curse. Your call. And this choice isn't just going to be spoken, it's meant to be physically performed. Once they're in the land, they're commanded to stage this massive national ceremony. The blessings that come from obedience will be shouted from one mountain, Mount Gerizim, and the curses from disobedience will be shouted from the opposing mountain, Ebal. I mean, talk about brilliant psychological stagecraft. By embedding this choice into the actual geography of their new home, the abstract ideas of blessing and curse become this powerful, shared physical memory. And that's where the text leaves us. It's really a masterclass in motivation, isn't it? It uses personal memory, future hopes, and even familiar legal contracts to frame a life or death decision. It all culminates in this public performance designed to make the choice unforgettable. And it leaves us with this final thought to chew out. What really is the power of a choice when it's stripped of all its complexity and presented as just two distinct paths, a blessing and a curse?